Hello there. How are you? Reeling a little bit right at the moment. I had an experience that somebody I trusted was having a conversation. It was a woman. And out of the blue, we talked about it before, and it wasn't a trigger. I'd mentioned the word sacred sexuality, and I wanted to know if that's something that we could do a live on. And all of a sudden, all this shaming came out from her. And I understand it triggers some people, but the consent had been made in previous conversations. But all of a sudden, something came out, and she basically said, that's perverted, that's not okay, it's too direct. I just said sacred sexuality is an important thing for humanity, and what are your beliefs on this? And she basically told me that this is wrong and you can't do that, and this is not okay. Shaming me, basically called me perverted and all those things I just said, too direct, etc. It cut me to the core because she went on to say, oh, your guides are telling me, because she's a priestess or whatever she calls herself or whatever, but your guides are telling me this is a major problem for you and you need to stop doing that, and you need to, and it's like, who the fuck are you to fix me because you're triggered? And she claims she wasn't triggered, but it was like such a shift in the conversation. It was just like it went dark all of a sudden. It was like I touched her hot button, and she didn't have the integrity to be able to say she got triggered. I'm sure she was. She claims she isn't. But it felt ugly to me. It was just like, you're bad, you're wrong, shut the fuck up, which isn't okay to receive from anyone. Especially somebody that you trust, that you thought was a friend. There was a bunch of warning signs, like, I don't know if you ever had friends that are like happy puppies, where they're really excited by you and they're just pulling on your energy and take me for a walk and talk to me and share. The conversations were literally exhausting. And then when the conversation went to something that I wanted to talk about, it wasn't okay, and I was shamed for it. And this is happening in a lot of relationships right now. The people that are the happy puppies, the energy vampires, the ones that are playing a game, will be triggered, and then when you call them out on it, they don't like it, and she immediately blocked me, and friendship ended, which is fine, and she wouldn't take any responsibility for her part in it, because I when things like this happen, I stated it, and I said this felt really uncomfortable, and it kept me up all night, and my guides are not saying anything like what yours are saying, and there's something really wrong here, and you've got a shadow, and it's not okay. But instead of having a conversation, it's just immediately, I did not do that, and you're wrong, and block me. It basically tells me I'm right. Because if it was really a friend, and it was really somebody that wanted some feedback or whatever, it wouldn't have went down that way. It would have been like, oh, sorry that you felt it that way or whatever. Well, why did you use the word perverted? Why did you use the word... I never even talked about sexuality. I just said the word sacred sexuality, and it went into some trigger that did not even match. That's why I considered a trigger that did not even match the ask. So I'm just going to say it's probably a good thing, because if that person cannot talk directly, that's not a person that I can trust. And if they can't take a reflection, I wasn't like, fuck you, go away, I'm whatever. But I pulled back and I said, I'm setting a boundary. I will never talk about sacred sexuality with you again. And I think it's best that we don't do the live that we were thinking about having. And the repulsion was like a massive over-rotation. It wasn't like, fuck you, don't talk to me ever again, but this is what I felt. She could have explained herself. She could have, but instead she just basically said, that isn't what happened. I wasn't triggered at all, which is essentially an admission that they were, because I was blocked immediately. And somehow she even deleted the live that I shared with her. So I can't even find it on my Facebook. So it's really deep and uncomfortable, the things that we're seeing in the field right now. Some people could say that this was a test and testing me for my triggers and all this kind of stuff. Well, I was triggered, but I could speak about it. I didn't smash in that moment. I didn't use words like perverted and too direct and ugly and other things which weren't fair, because they weren't, but they were used to smash, and they were used to basically discredit me in that situation, which was hers. But when I reflected it, the fact that she couldn't own it and own up to what happened and basically disavowed it all, you don't call people perverted over a connection. Sorry, it says slow connection at the bottom. Over a simple, what could be described as a misunderstanding, but it obviously wasn't a misunderstanding. The fact that the blocking was required just tells me that when we reflect the truth to these people that are in their shadows and discomfort and other things, we're shining the light back. And it needs to happen. And I could care less if this person ever comes back into my life. They will never be trusted until they've done whatever work caused that or whatever. But how many friends do you have? How many people have you had come into your life lately that just seem to be a moth to the flame, and they're really excited and they really want to be part of your life and all this kind of stuff, but it is a moth to the flame sometimes. It's like, oh, poof, boom, burned out. And I understand that, and that's part of the whole process. But when it hurts me or shoots me down or discredits me or whatever, I have to set hard boundaries and say, sorry, this isn't working for me. I can't be really vulnerable with a person that will immediately, when they get triggered, basically tell my request as being perverted when it's clearly theirs. I am very careful about boundaries and asking permission and other things. And I guess permission was given at one point and then not at another point. The fact that they talked openly about sacred sexuality in a previous conversation, and then I brought it up, and today it wasn't okay, and before it was okay. I don't need to ask permission every single day, but I would hope that if it's somebody I trust, that they just say, hey, I don't feel comfortable with this conversation, or this is triggering me right now. But it wasn't. It was like, there's something wrong with you, stop, done, whatever. It just really shows that person's not conscious. They're completely living in some kind of pull of shame or guilt or whatever, which is all fine. And talking about sacred sexuality triggers a lot of people, which is their choice. But I don't have to put up with it when it's in the shadow and it's not discussed. I tried. I made a discussion back and I was blocked. So I've got that off my chest. But you may be having that situation as well, where people, especially men, talking about sacred sexuality, it's a very hard one for women. They don't want men to be empowered in that, and they're all dirty, and we're all showing dick pics, and never sent one in my life. But there's this program, there's this software that says that we're doing something wrong by wanting to propagate the species and wanting to be sexual beings and other things, which is insane. So I stand here in my power of being a man that talks about sacred sexuality, teaches people about it and this kind of stuff, and I will not be ashamed. I will not be vilified from afar because somebody can't hold their shit. And I've seen many, many men go into deep explorations of the feminine and let the feminine express their pain and suffering and all that kind of stuff. I don't need to be whipped. I did not cause any of these things to any of these people. And if you've got a trauma or sexuality is not okay, or your partner didn't do well with you or whatever, well, go deal with it with your partner. It's not mine to deal with. So you may be having stuff like this on different topics happening in your life, but it's cleaning up of the timelines, cleaning up of the old stories, cleaning up. Are you standing in your power? Are you not giving your power away to these people? And I'm actually happy that I don't have to deal with that anymore. It's just like a minefield waiting for somebody to explode on you when they haven't been an integral. So I hope this resonates. I thank you for listening. It's raw and uncomfortable. Have a good day.